We grew from a billion to 3 billion. We've done 17 acquisitions. We went international. We diversified. And in my role as the chief compliance risk officer, in that company, I'd seen and done and experienced just about everything you can possibly do. And I thought, there's a lot here to share with other companies who haven't had that experience. And I've got this great network. Surely there must be some magic here that could be shared with others.
This is the Pass the Pitch podcast with Anna Frazzetto. Each episode, we sit down with bold thinkers and industry trailblazers to uncover the strategies, stories, and sparks of inspiration that drive growth and transformation. Let's get started.
Welcome to Pass the Pitch. Today, I'm honored to have Joanna Monroe, co-founder of Staffing GC. I've known Joanna now for a little bit of time here, and we always meet up at the different conferences that take place around the country. But what I love is how you describe yourself on LinkedIn, Joanna. You talk about being a senior legal executive, C-suite advisor, and board director with 25 plus years of experience in staffing and human capital industry. Also, the specialty as far as employment law with international experience, and that you're passionate in helping companies transform and grow profits while reducing risk and expenses. I also love that you say you want to make the complex simple and help leaders make risk intelligent decisions that move the business forward. So thank you so much for being on the show today. So welcome, Joanna.
Thank you so much, Anna. This is great. Thank you for having me.
Terrific, terrific. So let's jump right in. Typically, when I do the podcast, I always want to talk a little bit about leadership and talk about sales, obviously. But a lot of times in our career, first of all, I love the 25 plus. I think once you get to a certain point, I'm the same way. It's like I don't want to acknowledge how many years I've really been in staffing. But I have to ask, what's the best business decision you almost didn't make, and what pushed you over the edge?
Oh my gosh, that's such a great question. And I agree with you. Sometimes I just round up and I say I've been in staffing 100 years because 25 certainly feels like 100 with all the incredible experiences that you have. Yeah, so a little bit about my background. I'm a lawyer. I've been practicing for 30 years, and I started out as a prosecutor, and I was lucky enough to jump into Labor Ready at 1999 when I was 29 years old. Labor Ready was a day labor operation, publicly traded. We had 500,000 day laborers on our payroll, 900 branches across the country, and we were growing like wildfire. So I had the great opportunity to get in with this wonderful company on the ground floor. And, I spent about 20 years there, and had the chance to learn all kinds of different things and fail at many things, and grow as both an attorney and as a manager, and ultimately as a leader. But at some point, I hit the ceiling, and I kept trying to recreate myself. But when you've been in a company for a long time and you start at 29 and you're there when you're 49, it's really hard to rebrand. And I remember too, lean in was a big deal. And I kept raising my hand for new things. And I joked, I raised my hand and I leaned in so far, I fell over. I kept falling over. And it was just really hard to recreate myself and to continue to try to add value for the company and to still grow my own skills. And so I got to a point where I realized that in order for me to continue to grow, I was going to have to leave. And that was a terrifying decision because I didn't know what I wanted to do and I didn't know what I wanted to be. And I knew I didn't want to keep doing what I was doing, and didn't have an opportunity right in front of me. But I was lucky enough because of my wonderful opportunity with the company to be in a position to take some risk. And so the hardest decision I made in business at that point was the decision to just leave, to work an arrangement with the company and walk away and jump into a brand new business and launch Staffing GC. That was the hardest decision that I made, that I almost didn't make, because the reason I'd stayed so long was, number one, I love the company, but also I was afraid of taking risks. And I was so grateful that I was in a position and decided to bet on myself and take that jump. So that was probably the hardest decision I almost didn't make because of fear of betting on myself.
And you know what, Joanna, like you hit such a critical component about fear and how that plays a role in it. If you talk to other entrepreneurs like, Lauren Jones, Kelly Boykin, Erica Heinzen, and I can kind of go on, Michael Kolbrenner, like I know a bunch of people, Rob Grimsby, all individuals that it took them a long time, myself, right? Took a long time to want to launch and start your own business because fear got the better of you, and it's scary out there, and you have all these voices in your head that basically tell you like, oh my goodness, too risky, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, so much can go wrong. And you think about all the negatives and to try to fight through that. So I think the valuable lesson here is bet on yourself, like really bet on yourself, and have a little bit of that faith.
Absolutely. It was interesting. I think we work in this wonderful industry and we've had the opportunity to build these great relationships. And through True Blue, Labor Ready, we grew from 1 billion to 3 billion. We've done 17 acquisitions. We went international. We diversified. And in my role as the chief compliance risk officer, in that company, I'd seen and done and experienced just about everything you can possibly do. And I thought, there's a lot here to share with other companies who haven't had that experience. And I've got this great network. Surely there must be some magic here that could be shared with others. And I took that leap and just leaned in. I leaned in on my own this time and didn't fall over and managed to turn it into a pretty wonderful business. So it's been a great experience.
That's fantastic. I love hearing stories like that, and hopefully it motivates people in the audience to really, think hard on what their dreams are. Like Billy always says, dream big, right? Don't limit yourself. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what's one underrated skill or trait that more people in sales or leadership in general should really master.
That's a great question, and I think the answer to that is probably true in both sales and leadership, and I think it's listening. As a leader, it's really our responsibility to understand the people that we're leading to be effective, and the model of sort of, um, yeah, the leader coming in and it's my style and everybody's gonna adapt to my style, that's no longer the case. That leadership style doesn't work. It's really about being an adaptive leader. And to be successful, you really need to understand what motivates the folks around you and to be able to adapt your style to them. And that really does take authentic listening. I think listening also comes in helping to problem solve. Of course, we always want the people we lead to come in with the answers or their proposed answers and their thinking and solutioning on their shoulders. But to really help problem solve, we have to help listen and ask really good questions to help them think through to get to the answers. I think in sales, which is something I didn't do at my time at True Blue, although I would have loved to have been on a sales call. I loved the clients. I loved being in calls on contract calls. I loved helping get deals closed. But now that I'm actually in business development for my own business, what I've found is just my natural curiosity is sort of a strength. And I think as people are selling to me, when they ask me questions about my business, it really leads to a good conversation. But listening in sales, I think, is really critical because it helps you understand what the needs are so that you can maybe offer a solution. And if not you, maybe there are other people in your network that you can make connections to. But it's really about understanding their business. And honestly, I'm just super interested after having been in one company for 20 years. Like, I just want to know what's going on and how the different businesses work and what the challenges are and who their clients are and what sort of people they're placing. And I found that through that listening, it just sort of lends itself to building really strong relationships that maybe we don't work together now, but maybe in a year or two, they reach back out and they maybe have a need at some point. So listening, I think, builds curiosity, and good listening builds to good relationships.
That's terrific, and actually, I probably wanna draw, an observation that I find that when somebody first enters the workforce, they're really good at listening, right?
Mm.
Because they're trying to learn and absorb everything that's happening around them and really kind of master either the product or the service or whatever area they're in. As you keep moving up the organizational chart, I find that you lose your listening skills because I think it's either it happens because you're so confident in what you need to do to run a function or run a department or run a company that you forget the voice of the people around you. And you constantly have to remind yourself and say, wait a minute, hang on. Like, I would be nothing if I didn't listen to the team and the feedback that they give. I'm not going to grow the company by myself. I need the whole team to be on board and tell me, how do we steer the ship? Right. And what's the right way to go?
I think that's a really great point too. And I think anybody who's served on a board, for example, the idea of asking for the counter opinion and say, tell me what I'm not thinking about, or, be the contrarian here and give me the alternative point of view, argue against me. I think brave leaders ask those questions. Not everybody will give you that answer, but I do think asking folks to bring their perspective and listening to that is really critical.
Oh, absolutely. It's the diversification of thought, right? I mean, that creates more productive, better teams, exponential growth, as opposed to just doing it like your way, so to
Absolutely.
speak.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, terrific. So now let me ask a little bit about motivating teams. So, how do you keep your team motivated when results aren't coming as fast as expected? Now, I come from the tech side of
Gotcha.
things, and the tech staffing space has been literally paralyzed for the last 2 years, and and not a great 2025, so far. So keeping teams motivated has been constantly top of mind with me and any organization that I've been. How do what do you do?
100%. It always comes back to the core purpose of the organization. And if you are clearly focused and you have a clear vision for what the organization's purpose is and where it's going, and people are bought into it, then that's what is your anchor. So for me at True Blue, it was really about finding jobs for the people who needed them most. And so we were in a lot of swirl and chaos and legislative battles and class actions and media swirls and even internally sometimes there was political stuff as can happen in any big organization, and we just look at the team and say, what is this really about? This is about doing the work so that we can make sure that somebody has a job tomorrow. We were, large part of our organization was day labor, and people really needed to get that paycheck. We were fighting to keep the organization a day labor organization where we can get people paid the same day. And it was just really important to motivate with that point of view. In my business now, our purpose is to help staffing leaders achieve their dreams. Right. That is our number one purpose is how do we help staffing leaders get back to their business, put the legal issues aside and achieve their dreams. And so when we're dealing with plaintiffs attorneys or sometimes dealing with, tough staffing clients when they're hard to negotiate on contracts and we get frustrated, it's like, well, okay, let's put it in perspective. Yeah, we dealt with a really nasty attorney on the other side, but what's this all about? It's about helping our clients, the staffing leaders, achieve their dreams. The other thing we do is we focus on our values. And we have some really great values at Staffing GC. And one of them is, just be zen. Like at the end of the day, we're doing really important stuff. We take our clients' issues seriously, but we don't take ourselves too seriously. And we have to remember to really bring joy into our workplace, or else we just like bleh. So we just remind each other and we send each other silly emojis or silly gifts or memes just to try to cheer each other up. So that's really important is staying within our focus and bringing our values to life. And one of our other values is come out and play. I mean, it's just we want to make this a fun place to work and just trying to infuse humor in times of stress, and that really keeps I think our team motivated.
Right, and that's great. I mean,
Mm.
Joanna, you're not the first person to say like the importance of values, but I think what you really have kind of honed in on how that impacts the culture of the organization. So it's keeping the values top of mind. So like that, you have an enthusiastic, warm, playful, but yet very motivated to help your client base type of culture.
Absolutely, because one of our other values, that the one counterbalance to these really fun values is our single biggest value is we get shit done. It's the GSD value. So we're
Right.
gonna do all of
I
that, but
love
we're gonna
that.
get shit done for our clients, and that's really, as important as the other 4 values.
Right, right. No, that's fantastic.
Mhm.
So let me ask a little bit about what's one mindset shift that unlocked new growth for you and your team?
Yeah, so this is great. Leah and I have a wonderful partner, Leah Elliott. You may be familiar with her. She's been in the industry for 100 years. And she is a wonderful counterbalance. We bring complementary strengths. She's private company with Elwood, was the general counsel there, helped grow it from 150 million to a billion. So I have the public company background. She's got the private company background, and together, what do they say? 1 + 1 = 5. It's like there's some great synergy there. And we're really good staffing lawyers, and really good in-house lawyers. We're not your father's law firm, is what we say. But what we realized is we don't really know, because we were in-house our whole careers. Like, we really didn't know how to run a law firm super great. So the one thing we did, that really has made an impact on our business is we hired an expert. We hired a consultant, an EOS operator, to come in and help us more effectively run our business. And that one change of recognizing, when you don't know, or you don't have that strength on your team, to bringing that aspect in on a fractional basis. Like, Anna, that's what you do. You have this incredible strength of sales and marketing, and bringing that in. A lot of staffing firms don't have that and can't have it full time. So you bring that talent in. We're not afraid of doing that, and bringing in this one really wonderful person. Her name is Brooke Lively. She works with law firms specifically on EOS, which is a widely recognized way of running your business. Just some simple tweaks. We're still, sort of about 25% in our journey, have already made such a huge impact in getting traction in our business. I mean, we were doing really well, but just clarifying and bringing some simplicity, and just phew, within just a few months, it's been an incredible impact on our business. So I don't know what the lesson is there, other than to just know your limits, and then to outsource and to invite experts in to help you where you have opportunities to grow.
Right, exactly. And also, you talk about EOS. I'm a big fan of EOS. I think, the whole concept of being in the business versus
Mm.
being on the business, and how do you grow strategically? Because often, when you're a small organization, you do everything. It's like, hi, I'm your CEO. Hi, I'm your janitor. Hi, spill on aisle 12. Yes, I'm here to clean up. Right? I mean, you handle everything, that you're too much in the weeds, and it's hard to, like, take that step back and say, "Okay, hang on a second. How am I gonna really grow that business?" So I do think that that's a very impactful message to everyone out there, especially in the entrepreneurial, type of spirit.
Yes, if I can, I've become sort of an evangelist of EOS, and I've adopted all of their geeky corporate terms. And so that what you're talking about there is, you got to delegate to elevate.
Yeah,
So
exactly,
I'm always asking
exactly.
myself, is there someone better suited to do this task than me? And the answer oftentimes is yes. So I'm really
Right.
looking to, both in terms of like non-legal tasks, but also within the legal tasks. We have another wonderful lawyer on our team, Rhea Baker, who's extremely talented, who's been in the industry a long time. And there are many things that she can do just as effectively as me. And I'm like, why am I hanging on to this when I can maybe pass that off and then do more work on the business? So I have to continue to remind myself that it's just easy to get stuck in the weeds because it's comfortable.
Right, it's what it's ki it right, it's kinda, well, we can go on and on EOS, like, what got you here is not gonna be what's gonna get you to the next level, but
Sure.
anyway, so let me ask a little bit, tell me about a time when a seemingly small cultural detail made an impact either on a deal or a hire or a business decision.
Clarifying our values was really important. Um, and we have a rule. One of our values is, the golden rule, like treat others how you want to be treated. And early on, we were looking for clients, right? You're starting a new business, you're going to take on clients, and you're just happy to have clients, right? When you're starting out, and early on, we ended up with a client that was tough on us, is what I will say, and was maybe it was an out of balance relationship in terms of the demands and the way that this person's style was not aligned with the way that we like to work, and it was tough, and we said goodbye to that client, even though it was painful. This is a couple years ago, and that was a hard thing to do, because we were new and we were just trying to grow our revenue, but we exited a client because he didn't align culturally the way that he wanted to work with us, did not align culturally with the way we wanted to run our business. And that's the beauty of not being in a company where you're kind of stuck with everybody around you. We get to pick and choose who we want to work with. And we wanted to define, these are our guardrails about how we want to behave and how we want to engage with each other and our clients. That's an important cultural detail for us, and we're willing to walk away from business if somebody doesn't fit that profile or their firm. And so that was an important thing for us to do. Fortunately, we haven't had that experience since then, maybe because we're more picky on the front end of who we're going to work with. But that was, I think, really, really critical for us. And to have a partner that's aligned in those values is really critical. That
Oh, sure.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's a tough decision. I mean, I understand exactly what you mean, especially when, you're at the early stages of your business. Like you're probably, not as picky because you just want to have, more clients. But then the pain that comes with that is not necessarily worth that new business for sure.
Well, and I think there's an opportunity cost, right? And it's kind of that betting on yourself. It's like, well, I might have a little bit of pain now, but if I'm doing this, and what am I not doing? What client am I not serving? What better client am I not serving? I'm willing to go through some short term, risk and fear, and revenue impact to sort of bet on the longer term and finding the right client. And we did, yeah,
Good. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
you got lots of clients. Okay. So, Joanna, now I'm going to throw you a little bit of a curveball. We're going to have some fun. I'm going to do some
Oh
fun
no.
rapid fire, some fun rapid fire questions. So, what is the weirdest email subject line
Oh.
you've either received or sent?
Okay, this is gonna sound bad, but it was Flavor Ready. Flavor Ready. Is there an explanation I'm supposed to go with this, or do we just rapid fire it?
Uh, well, I think I want an explanation for that.
Unfortunately, way back in the day, Labor Ready, which turned into True Blue, what was getting hit and attacked unfairly by the unions, and they put up a website, yeah, ripping off our name and sort of accusing us of abusing workers, and they called it Flavor Ready, and that was the reline was Flavor Ready. No, we got the website taken down. Okay, so just so you know, it was taken down very quickly.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, that definitely would be an eye-opening if that was the subject line.
Yes.
Uh, okay, if your sales pitch had a theme song, what would it be?
I would say lean on me.
Oh, good one.
Yeah, when you're not strong, staffing firm, if you're under a battle or you're having troubles or you can't get a contract negotiated, lean on me. I'll be your friend.
Right, right. So it's funny when I was first putting these questions together and I was thinking about it, and I think maybe I was thinking about it too much from a sales perspective. The song that came to mind was the Taylor Swift song "Shake It Off." Because
That could
yeah,
equally work here. That could equally work here. Yes.
yeah, yeah. Because like when you lose a deal or something goes wrong, just like shake it off and kind of move on. But anyway, okay. If you had to give yourself a completely ridiculous job title based on what you actually do all day, what would it be?
What's the name for the guy who goes behind the elephants at the circus, sweeping up the I don't know. That might be it. That might be it.
Okay. Yeah, clean up
Hoover
on aisle
scooper.
12. Okay.
Kind of on aisle 12, yes.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Okay, if you had to describe your career as a type of food, what would it be and why?
I think I would be a smoothie because I think
Oh,
I'm good at sort of taking all the stuff at the cray cray and helping smooth it out so people can get back to their business.
oh, really good one. That
Yeah.
very creative. That's a good one. Okay, if you have to close a deal, but the only way you can communicate is through emojis, what's your message?
Oh gosh. My message is it would be a sword and a
Oh,
shield and a money bag. And
oh,
this and the sword is, we're gonna help you go go after whatever you need to go after. The shield is we're gonna help protect your company, and the end result is we're gonna put more money in your pocket.
oh, that's brilliant. I might have to. I think I'm officially copying that one. That's a great one. Yeah,
There you go.
I was not that creative. Yeah, yeah. No, that's great. Well, listen, Joanna, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today, and look forward to continuing our conversation.
Anna, thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed our conversation and appreciate you.
Thanks for listening to the Pass the Pitch podcast with Anna Frazzetto. Don't forget to subscribe and share. Next up, Vinda Souza on never ignoring your gut, leading with empathy when results lag, and hiring for unpretentious confidence. See you then.